Welcome to the Crazy Dre Podcast Show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your main man, aka Crazy Crack, aka Andre's Podcast. I got my friend here from Light of Wisdom, Mr. Azan. Azan is a young man who has started this podcast from July of this year. He's got over 1,200 subscribers. He's probably probably 130 videos, 140 videos already going up there, right? Right
Yeah,
on that.
roughly, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you. I'm going to ask you, how'd you start with your podcast? What was the point of your life and say, you know what, I want to start this podcast? I don't want the reason of what the podcast is, just why did you just start a podcast?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, for sure. So actually I started it last year in July. I started the channel in July of last year, but I didn't actually upload my first video until September 4th of last year.
Okay.
And honestly, the why is just because I had always had an interest in traveling, and also sports as well. But I wasn't really good at the sports aspect of things. And I know, like, sports, when you're on a team, you travel a lot, whether it's locally, whether it's, kind of like within the same country or even like, around North America, as I'm in Canada. Sometimes I would travel to the States for games and stuff like that. But my why was just really, seeing so many people out there, as I continued to travel, I just knew that people had stories kind of like me, but just didn't really have a place to really talk about it, or, just went about their day and just had no one really paying attention. So I kind of wanted to change that narrative. So I thought podcasting would be a cool way to do that. And so, yeah, September 4th, I picked up my headphones. I didn't really have a mic at the time like I used, but just picked up my headphones and thought, you know what, if I have volume, if I have sound and I have a conversation, what can go wrong? So yeah, that's kind of my why, and where I am today.
Great. So that sounds okay. You just wanted to be able to experience life, and podcasting was a way. Now, do you have a certain condition that sports or the reason why you wanted to connect with people? Do you have a difficulty time uh, involving yourself with other people or some form of like that?
No, so I've always been very outgoing with people, so that's never been a problem. But I do have cerebral palsy, so like the world of sports to me was, kind of not friendly, because in high school, it was kind of required that you had speed, and that you had certain kind of abilities to really play different sports. So for me personally, that was basketball. I was gonna get into football, but that just never really worked out. So basketball was just kind of my niche, my area. Um, I did play all throughout my 5 years of high school, but very limited. But just that
Mhm.
experience in itself was rewarding. But obviously, I wish I could have done a lot more and be involved a lot more than I was.
Exactly. And a lot of us who are with some form of disability, I have a stroke, you have a cerebral palsy. Now, was there a time where, let's say, talk about your childhood with cerebral palsy? When was that diagnosed? Was it through childbirth or
Yeah, right
malnutrition?
from birth. Right
Right
from
from
birth.
okay. So it was basically you didn't get enough oxygen. Am I correct? Doctors mishap your birth,
Yeah,
and then kind of everything hit the fan.
exactly.
Then how did your parents respond to that? And how did you parents teach you about um, like how to live with a disability, or did they not teach you that? They're just like, well, you have cerebral palsy. Here you go for it. Anything
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that?
I kind of got very lucky, where like I didn't really need that per se. The only thing that was affected was just the way I walk. That was about it. So it wasn't really anything like, um, you know, I remember like I had like things like cast on growing up.
Mhm.
I think I had a walker for like a little bit. That was just like when I was a kid. But other than that, just I had two operations. I can't remember exact timelines, and then I get Botox every now and then, which were very painful. There were two at the back of my legs, but now I'm much better than I've ever been before, and just every day, just making improvements. So I wouldn't say they necessarily had to teach me how to do things. I kind of just went along as the doctors and people kind of taught me otherwise. I'll admit I'm not the best at keeping up with my stretches and exercising, but that's because I'm
Mhm.
always tied up with stuff like this and podcasting and stuff. But I try my best to get in some good stretch and exercising time when I can because that's been most helpful. But
Okay. So you kind of have your own drive, your own personal drive. You
exactly,
never had to get mom and dad never had to like feel sorry for you or push you harder. And that's kind of what I am like. A lot of people like, how do you work and how do you do things and all that? Some people have the will. I mean, you have the will. And let's really talk about. I want to ask you something about that Botox because why did you have to get Botox? I mean, that to me is like, explain to the science behind that. What is the science behind the Botox?
I think that was just to make my muscles stronger because my muscles were so weak. So I think it has
Okay.
something to do with my muscles, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, because a lot of women get Botox on their face, and then they get stretched out, and they can't smile. So that, to me, that I never heard of that of getting cerebral
I'm
palsy.
I'm not sure if it was called like I'm not sure if it was like Botox, but it was definitely like some sort of needle. I don't know what it was called, but I guess we just called it Botox. Whether or not it was called that, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, there
Mhm.
were exactly four needles, two on each side. So
So you don't really have. Do you have a big? Do you have a limp? Do you have a like a real significant limp where you can just tell something's going on or not really?
not a limp, but like my walking has improved, but it's different. Like it just I walk
Yeah.
differently. Not a limp, but I just walk differently.
But you walk a little slower than the rest of your crowd, a little bit,
Surprisingly,
right?
I can walk probably faster though. I won't lie.
Okay,
Like
really, really. See, I'm surprised by
yeah,
that.
but
And then
depends on the day. Depends on the day.
okay, okay. So you can get tired quicker than
Yeah,
sometimes, and depending on what you have to do.
exactly.
Yeah. So how does that involve you with your social life outside sports, like dating or like going out with your friends? Did your friends treat you or people in school treat you differently, or people now treat you differently, or do they tend to feel sorry for you, or do they not care? Explain that.
Yeah, I would say probably when I was younger, a lot of people did kind of care. I could say like I definitely got a lot of attention in terms of just I know people were gonna treat me differently anyway, but we're young and obviously I think as you move up into the stages of life, you tend to have a bit more understanding. So when I went into high school, it was much better. Like people were
Yeah.
understanding. Some people still kind of treated me like a joke, but as I've kind of gone along like my 20s and where I'm at now, being 25, people are very understanding and they accept me for who I am. So I've never really had that kind of problem before.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. And then with this is gonna be probably the last question about this. Uh, is your cerebral palsy, is it going to get worse or is it just going to be elevated to be like, because a lot of times that they've been told, I don't know if it's true, but I know 20 years ago, or at least over 20 years ago, people with that condition or any type that type of condition, like MS or like MD, they can get, well, not really MS, but more like MD, muscular dystrophy. They will decline as the years go by
Decline.
physically, not like
Yeah.
death. Is there any concern about that, or just like
No.
you'll
No,
just
not
go?
that I've been yeah, not that I've been told of. I think for me, like it's just a matter of just keeping up with my exercises and my stretches, and I think that's been my biggest help is just like continuing with
Yeah,
that. So at least from what I've heard, no, I can't get any worse. But it's up to me to kind of make it better. But it will never get perfect, but I can make it better for myself.
yeah. I would strongly like. I'm 48, and I because I work on my feet and lift things. It helps out my whole physical um, ability to survive better. If
Yeah,
I were to work in the office all day and never exercise, I'd probably be very limp in a form. So your doctors are right. You're going to have to like. I would go to the gym if I were you and just work on your legs. even for like
Absolutely.
10 minutes, do leg press, and then 15 minutes of walking on a treadmill. But
Absolutely.
let's let's really talk about the light of wisdom. So this page on YouTube is really dedicated to inspiring stories about open insights about people and experience and knowledge and sports, a little bit sports. But I've noticed that a lot of it's more and more about people's perspective about their life. So what field do you most attract to when you listen to someone's story?
I think like similar to what you asked at the beginning is kind of like their why. I think with anything in life, we all have that kind of story and that that question of why did we do something? Why do we start a business? Why do we go into a certain field? Why do we play a sport that we play? Or like basically just all kinds of phases through life. I think for me it was just like that why process and hearing
Mhm.
people's stories about you know I started this because of this, or I started this because I had a passion for this. It's really cool to hear. I tell people about a story of me trying to in grade 10. I really had aspirations of actually going to the NBA, and at that time I was actually pretty good. I could shoot. Defense was probably the best it ever was. My leg movements were amazing because I had gone through to like a few camps. So I actually had the courage to write a letter to the NBA. And I still remember it was November of 2016.
Okay.
So, oh no, not 2016. Yeah, 2016, sorry. And wrote a letter. And after 2 months, I got a letter back from them. And they sent like a mini basketball, like not a big one, but like one of those bouncy balls. They sent like a few packs of cards. So at that time, like I kind of knew that, okay, if I really want to try to push for it, I could. Obviously, I wasn't able to kind of follow through with it. But for me, yeah, I think it's more finding out about like the people's whys, and like I think that's what makes everyone unique. And so that's what I wanted to kind of bring to the show.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Any let's go back to well, let's I mean it sounds like you're inspirational about um getting the opportunity to get a letter from the NBA. And how does that translate you to like your experience with podcasting? Did that give you like the sense of confidence of look, if I can't do this, should I do this instead of like podcasting? How did that coordinate with that uh, inspiration or hope?
So I think like for me personally, um, kind of after my high school days, still wanted to be involved in sports. So like coaching, kind of like scouting, was something that I was kind of interested in, and I know of some people personally, like through friends, family that work for sports companies that are scouts on different teams. So that whole kind of area still fazed me. And going back to the traveling, I felt like traveling and sports really go together well. And so do people, right? Like when you are on a sports team, you build yourself not just as a player, but within the organization. You represent your team, your organization. You're basically like the center of the sport or the league that you play in, regardless whether you're pro or not. So for me personally, um, it's kind of just I feel like those different elements have really helped me through this podcasting journey because I can, for example, you were on our show and we talked about sports. That's something I still love, and I would love to talk about that more if I find the right people in the right group. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think different elements like those have really helped me in this podcasting journey, and so trying to see where else I can take it. Still kind of different things coming up every single day, different ideas, different developments. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But it'll be 1 year, September 4th. So that's next week. So yeah, really, really happy
So
of how far we've come.
Yeah, that really is. Are you thinking about still pursuing kind of sports entertainment with interviewing teams or your favorite team or your players on your local network, or are you trying to
Yeah,
do that?
yeah. So
And
I'm still looking into that. I think that's something I've always been interested in anyway. So it's I've taken some small like courses like through different colleges and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still something I do want to kind of pursue. Hopefully, if I get a chance to.
how far are you away from your favorite team? Like you're just over the border of the United States. Obviously, you're Toronto.
Just
Toronto,
outside Toronto, yeah.
yeah. So, what's your two teams that you like, or what's your favorite? Do you like the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Raptors, or what is it?
Big Raptors, big Raptors fan, big
Yeah.
Raptors fan.
So you're what? Maybe an
I
hour
watch a
away.
lot of yeah, about an hour 45 minutes away from Toronto.
Okay. Have you
I'm
ever
I'm
thought?
kind of more close. I'm kind of
Yeah, go
more
ahead.
close to the like Windsor, Detroit than I am kind of Toronto. Well, they're both kind of the same distance, give or take, like hour 45, hour 50 minutes. So kind of get
Yeah.
the best of both worlds. And then obviously Niagara Falls and Buffalo. It's like probably another again, same thing, like hour 50. So you got the possibly Detroit side of things, you have Toronto, and then you have like Buffalo and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty good scope of things. And then Montreal, if you're trying to trek 7 hours, but for me,
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah. And I feel like I'm being honest. I mean, would you ever consider just like finding the avenue to uh, do home games for the Raptors and then going to the press conference, I mean, press box after the show or before the
yeah,
show, before the game? Would you ever consider doing
yeah.
that?
I've thought about it. I've thought about it. Um, I've been to a few games myself, and I've kind of seen behind the scenes of how that all works. So yeah, definitely stuff on the table that I'm considering. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Because yeah, it sounds like that's kind of a great avenue for you if you love sports so much. I should do the same thing. Like I'm giving you advice, but I live 2.5 hours away, and it's about the funding, isn't it? It's like you have to get a hotel, and you for baseball you would have to stay 3 nights and what 3 days and 2 nights. Just do a press conference and listening to the managers and the the players. So I get that, but I would
Yeah,
consider to do it for hockey or for basketball because they play one game, and then it's
yeah,
either one other every other night or every other 2 nights. So that's something that I would even consider myself. Uh, are there any particular stories that you really kind of heard from your previous shows that you like? Oh, that's pretty amazing. Any personality that you really would like to spread the word out to?
Um, no, I mean, I can't really pinpoint one. I think like the journey we've been on, we've just had people on our show from coast to coast, like around the world, basically from, the US, Southeast Asia, from South Africa, South America. So, we've been very fortunate that we've had guests on from all over. And, it's for me, like building those connections, seeing ways where you can work together if there's an opportunity, or, just like I said, like coming up with a new idea or just, ways to collaborate, that goes a long way. And so, um, I've been very thankful that I've been able to be on this journey. So I can't really pinpoint one to be fair.
Hmm.
But yeah, they've all been special in their own way. And I think I really appreciated people's authenticity, honesty, and just, being themselves. Because in a world of online podcasting, I'm sure a lot can go wrong, but then also, you're lucky, a lot can go right. And once you find people, it starts to add up, and you build a little community for yourself, and it goes a long way. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's cool. That's pretty cool because I know that you did stuff with someone in it from India. I saw that episode. That was pretty cool because I never thought that connecting with somebody from India. And when I watch you, like, oh, that's really cool. I love how you avenue yourself to everybody. Uh, this, if you guys are looking to connect with him, he's on the Facebook Messenger. It's Light of Wisdom, so he's obviously always trying to reach out to other guests and other people. You also have an Instagram page. Is it the
I do,
same?
yeah.
It's the same thing, the Light of Wisdom Instagram.
Uh, Lighter Wisdom 360, kind of similar to our YouTube name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you are on Spotify as well.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. Still have to post some more episodes, but recently just got on Spotify about 2 months ago. So
Okay, that's awesome. And then and then obviously you're on YouTube.
yep,
You got a lot of episodes on YouTube, and
yeah,
that's something that all the audience out there that's listening, you can connect with him through his episodes on YouTube. He's got a couple shorts that he's just started to do as well. And I tell you what, Azan, this is a really interesting way to connect with you because that's how I connect with you on Facebook Messenger. And
exactly.
I was more intrigued the fact that you do want to talk to somebody from the west side of the state, talking about the Detroit teams. So I'm not actually a Detroiter. So I would also like to apologize to all the Detroiters out there for misrepresenting our teams because our our teams are very we're very loyal to our teams. So all apologies to all those people out there. Azan, I think that you have a very nice, awesome work going on for you, and I think that the way that you're projecting um, your page and your episodes is very positive because a lot of the stuff out there right now is about garbage news or garbage representation or hype news about stuff that's very can become very negative and then they can turn it they can twist it, but you are very good at trying to make the very positive thing out of it and explain where'd you get that positive energy from? How do you not go under to the dark side? Maybe that's what I'm asking.
For sure. Yeah. I think I've always been fortunate that I've grown around family and community that has just always taught me and instilled in me like that kindness. And like as I've kind of gone throughout my phases of life, um, I volunteer a lot. So a lot of my volunteering, those kind of skills, those things that basically I've learned have basically taught me what I'm doing right now. And so I guess the reason behind it is just because like you just never know what anyone's going through, right? And
Yeah.
if you can make someone's day or just like I said before, like um even outside of sports or anything, we all have skills, we all have talents. It's up to you what you want to do with those skills, those talents. There's so much you can do in this world. And I think
Hmm.
that's what makes each of us special and unique. And I think that for me is what I really wanted to bring to the channel is just, like I said before, people's authenticity, uniqueness, and just have a conversation. I think as humans, we're bound to have conversations. We want to have conversations. We yearn to talk to people. And I think there's no greater gift than that. And so I feel like podcasts and, just doing stuff like this, we might think it's something small, but it can go a long way. And I've seen the results myself. It's special. It's really special if it's done correctly and it's done in a way that, where there's no, as you said, like no garbage or just no trouble and, everything is just normal and,
Hmm.
people might have different views and I'm not saying everyone's perfect, but you move past it and you try to create conversation where you can and it's become a very powerful medium.
Exactly. So, where do you volunteer? I mean, what kind of agencies or what kind of places do you volunteer?
So I volunteered like at basketball camps. I volunteer with like a faith-based community. I used to volunteer for one of the local police services, but I did like they had like a course that was like a few months, and they had a 2 month internship, like a paid internship. So
Mm,
a lot of those different things that I kind of picked up, like from, you know, for example, in the police volunteering case, like going to soup kitchens, going to volunteer at places for the less fortunate. So all these little things just teach you um, values and certain skills in life that you take with you, kind of in your bag, your imaginary bag, if you will, and you
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
apply them outside in the world every single day. So
Oh, that's pretty good. And to end this, do you get a lot of the approach by other kids with cerebral palsy or any other disability? Or do parents connect with you? Do they reach out to you, or do they kind of like? I get a lot where I people look at me and like are surprised that I'm working full time, and then there's a sense of hope, and then there's a sense of people who are like feel guilty for it, but the people that feel hope for it, I feel like they have kids with disability. Do people connect with you with your disability, that with the kids or with someone they love?
kind of not. I haven't really had too much experience in that area, but I would say odd times that I do get kind of those connections.
Yeah.
It also depends, like if I'm at an event or uh, where there is majority of people with disabilities, sometimes they do wonder, but other than that, not so much. But
Yeah. Yeah.
even people who don't
Yeah.
really have kids or families with disabilities, they still come up to me. They're like, "How do you do what you do?" I said, "It's
All right.
just faith, and it's just being strong and just using the gifts that I have. I could be in a lot worse situation. I've been told that by many people, and I just have to take each day as a blessing and just be thankful for the fact that I'm able to move, that I'm able to drive, that I'm able to run. Basically do things that, unfortunately, there are people that are wheelchair bound or people that, walk with mobility aids that really can't do much. So my goal is to basically just be a example like yourself and be an inspiration to people that, are less fortunate or just don't have the opportunity to do so.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And you never struggle with you never struggle with the idea of what you could have been or you could do. Do you have to go through those moments of not, I wouldn't say depression, but not like maybe some bitterness a little bit? Do you never go through that? Is that
Not
that's
at
very
all.
unique, by
Not
the
at
way.
all. Not at all,
That's
no. Because I realized that, this is how I am. And, like I said, it could be a lot worse, but you know, I've been very fortunate where, I do have mobility, I do have movement, and I just want to use that to the best of my advantage for, as long as I have it for. And yeah, just continue to have fun every day because, you only live once, and I don't want to take any day for granted.
well, there you go, folks. The happiest man in the world from Light of Wisdom. I think that's the wisest thing I've heard yet this week is that you just, if you're born a certain way, your life could be a lot worse, but you are just a very inspirational story. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Lights of Wisdom, Azan, and this is the Courage Ray podcast show. This episode will be on his page as well, and he probably will share it on his Instagram and other Spotify or whatever he's going to go with. I am going to have it on my Spotify, Apple Podcast. I mean, I'm also going to put it on Patreon and my own YouTube page. Mr. Azan, I'd like to thank you for all the information, all the positive energy. This was a lot of fun. And peace, love, and happiness to all of you. I'm out.